ఎలా ఉన్నారు సార్?
Namaste, Daaji.
నమస్కారం.
Very nice hearing Telugu, Daaji.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం సార్.
Reverend Daaji, we are really blessed to have you on the second session also. Thank you so much for taking time.
Well, I'm very happy to be part of you all. Thank you for having, and let's give a legacy to our next generation. The world full of spirituality, heart full of spirituality.
Yeah.
It will be a wonderful world.
Yeah, Daaji. Reverend Daaji, there are participants still joining, but we can start the session. We already increased 50% more participant compared to the last session today. So there's a lot of interest coming in on this program. And it's very nice to see that. And for today's program, we would like to hear your responses to some of the questions that panelists have. Few questions before going into the meditation. And before Q&A, we would like to be blessed with your message for today, and then we can go into Q&A.
Well, in India, we are celebrating a very special day. Nationwide, wherever schools are open, they are celebrating Children's Day. And that's why I am reminded of this, that what sort of a legacy we would like to leave behind for our next generations and many generations to come. You see, we can give a lot of money. There is nothing wrong. Money is necessary. But like knife is also necessary to cook vegetables, cut vegetables, sharpen things. It can also cut people, destroy people, kill people. It's the same knife. Wealth we leave behind, material wealth. Also, it's a double-edged sword. If we leave the wealth in a deregulated mind that is so tamasic, Rakshasi mind as we call in India, Pisachi mind, then you're fueling their energy with the wealth we leave behind. You become their enemy. So what sort of children we want to groom? Sattvic, saintly, leading a balanced life. It's not that we want them to make saints out of them overnight. No, that is not our goal. We would like to excel, not only in the material world. We want them to become rich, extraordinarily rich. Why not? There is nothing wrong with it. But I would also like to see this would also soar higher and higher in the spiritual world. Now, how are we going to do that? Unless I, as a father, and my wife, as a meditator, when we meditate together, imagine the kind of environment it creates every morning. When father and mother, they are meditating in the living room together. And children, as they wake up, they watch you doing meditation. They will naturally imbibe those vibrations. And they will also try it out, if not in front of you, but quietly. They will try to close their eyes in their bedroom, in their privacy, perhaps in the bathroom, perhaps when they're alone, when they're in trouble. Oh, my father, my mother, they always meditated. Let me also try. Only this much effort is required. And during our lifetime, if they can also take the responsibility of working upon themselves. With heartfulness way of meditation, we are trying to sensitize their heart with pranavati, trying to differentiate between what is right, what is wrong. And when children learn this simple art of knowing what is right and what is wrong, we will not have to keep going after them all the time. They become their own guide. Their heart speaks to them. So isn't it wonderful that before I commit any mistake, I understand that what I'm going to do next, my heart does not agree. So let me stop it. Sometimes the desire, the pull, the attraction is so great that despite of my heart's signal not to do it, we still end up doing it. That's okay. I may make mistake once, I may make it twice. That's okay. But then heart will automatically give you strength also eventually. That look, when I did not hear to my heart last time, I suffered. I didn't listen to my heart again and I suffered. Do you really want to suffer again and again, again and again? So through meditation, we try our best to sensitize the heart through pranahuti, and this pranahuti cleanses the heart, purifies the heart, divinizes the heart, so that we get correct signals. And as heart becomes purer and purer, see, heaven descends in our hearts. We don't need to go to heaven. Where is heaven anyway? Even in heaven, if your heart is impure, you cannot enjoy heavens. But if your heart is pure, even in hell, you will remember God and enjoy that heavenliness, because your heart is heavenly, pure. The hell cannot touch you. So this is the beauty of being spiritual. We need to create such atmosphere in our families where they imbibe such loving vibrations, you see. Lead a balanced life. I was also a pharmacist practicing in New York City, a chain of pharmacies. This practice of meditation didn't take me away from the business. In fact, it helped me expand it much more than what I could alone do without meditation, because each time it would guide me what to do, what not to do. Heart always guides us, especially telling us what not to do. In family life also, it has always helped me. And many individuals, even simple things like, even if you're not meditating, it doesn't matter. But when you have a simple question and you sleep with that question in your heart will always give you a signal. You don't have to believe in God. It's not that I am a non-believer of God. I do believe in God. But there are many individuals today, and we are including those who believe and those who don't believe. We have no problem if you don't believe either. The reason is very simple. To me, a person who says, I don't believe in God, I find that person is very honest, actually. And many who say, I believe in God, I chuckle in my heart and say, look at this phony guy. See, he says he believes in God. On what ground are you believing in God? Do you have a proof? Have you experienced? Or are you speaking from the head, from the borrowed knowledge of father and mother and books? And if you ask your grandmother, Grandma, do you believe in God? She might slap you also. Why are you asking me such a question? But when you plead with her and say, Ma, tell me, have you experienced God? then she'll quietly confide in you that I'm still waiting for that experience. So, making a claim of believing in God is a very dangerous situation. That this belief, unfortunately, keeps my heart wrongly satisfied. It's like instead of giving somebody a food, you give him cold water for 2 hours. His hunger will go away. This is what the belief is doing to us. I must believe in God because I experience the presence. It's not that I don't want to listen to my parents. They do guide me. Based on their guidance, I have to actualize that belief. And that's why the meditation. Meditation helps us experience God in incremental fashion. To the extent I develop purity in my heart, to that extent, my consciousness will develop, and to that extent, my consciousness will resonate with the cosmic. As simple as that. Now, I would also like to put forward before you all, because many people may have this question, how much heartfulness charges for such meditation practices. We have multiple practices offered at each level. Are we charging anything? When my Gurudeva, he visited Washington, D.C. sometime in 1972, Babuji Maharaj. He was asked by one gentleman, he said, Ramchandra, you are visiting United States. He was a local person and said, how do you give liberation for free? How much do you charge for meditation? And he slided $50 bill towards him. And my Guruji has never seen $50 bill in those days, you see. He pushed the note back to him and he says, excuse me, I'm not selling God. Then he put a question. If you can buy God, why do you need me? Then he made another remark that God is not for sale. And if you have the ability of paying, then you don't need God. God is not for sale. Our ancient culture says Brahma Vidya is always for free. Even Hari Prasad Reddy Garu came here and asking such questions. Arta meetings, this guru charges so much, that guru charges so much. How much will you charge? What to answer? I have already answered you guys so many times. Our services are for free. We are in service of the Lord. Moment you put a price tag, you have insulted that godliness, that divine hierarchy. People charge this breathing and that kriya and that kriya and that mantra and that mantra. I'm sure Telugu people, they take pride in giving millions to such gurus, fall at their feet. You like to waste money? Go ahead. It would have been better if you had given just $1 to a child in one village. He would bless you more than any guru or any Sadguru or Samarth Guru can do it for you. So bring back this idea. Don't think that we can buy God or even a guru. Gurus are also not for sale. There are gurus who will sell themselves for millions, 500,000, 100,000. They'll also accommodate you for sitting in the front row. How much? And I'm sure Telugu people, they are so generous in their heart, they will lash it out with pride. And they will talk among themselves also, oh, I give so much to that. I gave so much to that one also. They shop around from guru to guru. Are you loyal or you're just shopping around? Can guru be bought? And if guru be bought, then you're not dealing with the right guru. You're making a transaction there. So my request to you all is meditate. Even in choosing a right guide, right person who can help us evolve, help us understand what consciousness is all about. If you read Ramayana properly, and when we see the undercurrents, when Rama and Lakshman were smaller and other brothers, they were studying in the ashram under a guru. The main topic of their discussion was consciousness. And there is a whole Vasistha Sanhita on this very topic. What is consciousness? How to evolve this consciousness? It's a burning topic today for neuroscientists of these days. Next one, same time frame, Sita's father, Raja Janaka. And the dialogue between Raja Janaka and Ashtavakra. It is there in the form of Ashtavakra Gita. Try and just browse through this English translation. There too you will find it's all about consciousness. When Lord Rama and Lakshman and Mother Sita, they were in the forest for 14 years. What was their main topic of discussion? Before Sita Haran, consciousness. And this also is there in a booklet form in few slokas. It's called Lakshman Gita, or also available as Ram Gita, depending upon which part of India you're from. So you see that epoch, that period, they were always busy discussing consciousness. And why consciousness? We'll take up this topic of consciousness some other time, but I would like to share something which is very dear to my heart, which is all about consciousness. When we say my human life, what is the purpose of my life here on this planet? Why did God create me in the first place? If Atman was pure enough, immutable, indissectible, life giver, where it being pure in its own nature, it cannot evolve further. It is the ultimate purity. So it cannot evolve. When body, can my body evolve? Not at all. My body will only age. I'll develop more and more wrinkles around me. And use Botox now and then, see, to hide my wrinkles. So in short, my physical body will only age. On the other extreme, my soul cannot change. It is immutable. It is the purest. It's the ultimate. Then what can evolve? It is something in between called consciousness. And what is this consciousness made up of? What is consciousness? To me, consciousness is all about degree of awareness. To that definition, by that definition, it also means degree of unawareness. Stone, the plants, animals, human beings of different status, strata, different level of evolution, we perceive things differently. This perception, this awareness makes us different who we are. And as we go beyond human, when we talk about angels and gods and goddesses and their consciousness, the question changes. My perception then, as I evolve, is no longer limited to what I see and become aware. I see and I become aware. I hear and become aware. But at a very high level, I close my eyes, I see things. I close everything around and I feel things worldwide. Those are angelic levels of consciousness. But that is not the purpose. The reason why I broach on this topic of consciousness, find a guru who can expose my dormant consciousness, who can awaken it through pranahuti. Pranahuti, as I was sharing with you last time, is different from prana pratistha. Prana pratistha, which is done by these priests and pandits, they do it on a statue so that it can become a worshipable murti. After that, it becomes worshipable. But this worshipable murti is not going to speak and say, oh, I received prana from Hari Prasad or from sister so and so. But if someone says, I can instill this prana in you, I don't mean making a dead man alive, but who can make you experience the nourishing prana into you, then I can say, yes, there is something like pranahuti. There is something that flows in my heart and that enlivens me. Little by little, how it nourishes my inner spiritual entity even more. So this experiential thing is possible only through pranahuti. How far can a dhyan or meditation take me? It also has its own limits. Mind okay. Mind has its own limits too. The frontiers of the mind too have limits. And since meditation is all about mind, that too has a limit. But when you mingle pranahuti and meditation, it builds the bridges with divinity, with godliness. You go beyond the mind. You know, the great Osho, I don't know how many of you have heard of him. You have heard all great things as well as bad things. But he's the finest brain, you can say, has India produced. He talks a lot about no mind. But I like to say that we can go beyond mind, we can transcend mind. My Gurudeva used to say, just as children like to play with toys, youth enjoys the romance. Sages and yogis, they too play around. Their toys are consciousness. But no one thinks about what supports this consciousness. What is it that gives life to this consciousness? So we will explore through our heartfulness meditations little by little as we proceed, and you will be able to experience all this. And I pray that this program will continue and more people will benefit from this. Yes, sir, Hari Prasad Garu, please, if you have any question.
Thank you. And I request Uma Garu to take on the moderation role for Q&A. Please, Uma Garu. Namaste, Daaji.
Thank you, Master. We have 3 people on the panel that have questions today. The first one is Brother Ram Nunna. Ram Garu, if you can unmute and ask the question to Revered Daaji.
Thank you, Magaru. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thanks, Daaji Garu, and everybody on the call. Daaji Garu, this is a 4-pronged question, Andy. In general, it seems to be difficult to bring changes in one's life. Whatever the training we get from childhood, from parents, from teachers, from friends, family, and our culture, seems to create our personality. And it is very tough to change the personality. So I got 4 questions. How does meditation practice help to become a better human being? That's the first question. Second question. Yeah.
Hold on to it. Hold on to it. So let's tackle this first one.
Okay.
Personality changes, the traits. In our philosophy, we consider this personification, the grooming of a child into a certain personality. Persona means a mask. We wear a mask based on all the conditioning that we go through. Right? Now, this conditioning has 2 aspects to my understanding. One is cognitive. Second is emotional part of it. Like when we have a dialogue, you will carry on later on after this dialogue or a discussion with an impression that, oh, wow, Daaji spoke like that, but he was very rude. Or if you are a physician and practicing the patient, you tried your best to convince your patient, right? But patient walks out with the impression, whatever they like to carry, oh, this is the finest doctor I have seen so far, or this guy is just joking around with me, see? He's not very serious. So these are the emotional memory a person carries afterwards. See? Cognitive memory is, oh, I went to this 478 Malcolm X Boulevard. Doctor so-and-so I met. These are cognitive memories. Emotional memory is how you treat them and how one perceives it from the heart. Okay. That is very difficult to change. Once certain impression is formed about such and such a doctor, it's difficult to remove from the patient's mind. We are all some kinds of patients. We carry certain impressions all the time about everyone. You look at it this way also, our mind is busy screening things based on our likes and dislikes. Right? Things like if you have grown up in India and you stretch your foot and sit around, in front of your elder, they may not like it. It is considered as disrespectful. But you can stretch your legs with your sneakers on the table, and it could be stretched all the way to the professor who is teaching you. They don't care. So these likes and dislikes, as you say, they are brought into our life through our culture, through our conditioning. Do I have to become judgmental about it? I don't think so, but people do judge. Like in Indian houses, my children, especially when they are visiting other houses, and we also interact with other families in US, first thing they teach, you must touch their feet and do namaskaram and all that. Nothing, it's great. But some children, they don't like to do it. Why should I do it? But parents would force them. That also remains as a memory. Some training that didn't go so well, that remains as a memory. Not only cognitive, but also as emotional, and they react and they start hating the culture itself. How to change it? It's a fundamental question. It's very difficult to change. These impressions in spirituality, they are called impressions. Now, if we meditate correctly, it brings about right understanding. And when the cleaning is done, when we try to remove these impressions through this heartfulness way of cleaning, either you can do it yourself or the trainers can help you get rid of these impressions. It doesn't take very long time. Deeper the impression, longer it takes. But many superficial impressions, they go just like that without any problem. And we become unbiased because now this conditioning, which was formed because of this settling of various levels of inputs from various sources, they're diffused because of this pranahuti. We become freer and freer from these impressions and conditioning. So heartfulness way of cleaning, it really does help us decondition ourselves and helps us change ourselves even better, for better. So little change we make and we experience even the smallest of change. And how good you feel at the end of that change will motivate you for further changes. Sir, you're muted, Ram.
The next
Thank you.
question is from,
My second question is it too late to start doing the meditation?
It's never too late, sir. It's never too late.
And the third, it's the follow-up question is, what is the best age to start?
Ram, I would like to share an interesting story for others' benefits, because there are many who are also having this idea, is it too late? But then I would like to share a story from Ramayana once again. It was shared with me by my Guru Deva, so that's why it's very dear to my heart. At the end of the war, where Ravan is on his nearly a deathbed, he was breathing his last, Lord Rama requests his younger brother Lakshman that it would be nice to pay respect to such a great sage Ravana. You must bow down before him and ask for the lessons from him, learn something from him. So Lakshman he was, by nature, he was a very angry person, but he had a lot of reverence for his father, brother. So he listens to him and he goes to Ravana, bows at his feet, and respectfully asks, would you please guide me with your advice, any suggestions that you may have for us? Ravana said, I knew he is Avatar Purusha. I knew it before, I know it now for sure. It's too late for me. I should have changed long back. Then he said, doing a good thing, do not delay. For doing a bad thing, you can postpone it every day.
Thank you. The third question is, what is the best age to start meditation?
Well. Moment of conception. And if that moment is missed, 15. So I think we'll tackle this question in detail, especially this question on how to understand the spiritual journey that can begin at conception. Because none of us are aware when will this moment of conception will happen, because you are so busy like an animal. You don't know what's going on around. You have lost all your faculties at that very moment. How are you going to become aware of conception and facilitating spiritual journey? That itself is a long topic you can have. It's just kindly make a note of it so we can tackle all these important. So far we postponed this topic of conception and also of consciousness. So please, Uma Garu, you can remind us later. Okay. Sir,
The
Ram,
last
your
question, Andy.
fourth question, yes, sir. Yes.
How did you become such a divine person? Was it your self-effort or somebody influenced you? I was just wondering.
All of it, sir. All of the above.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Uma Garu, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Master, we have one more person on the panel, Dr. Saraswati Kalvakota. She's from the Hindu temple, as well as part of the Hindu Dharma group. And also, she's the daughter of P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu, whom we all know as our late Prime Minister. Saraswati Garu, if you can unmute and ask Revered Daaji your question.
Daaji, I'm just so overwhelmed. And this is my lifetime opportunity to be able to come in front of you and ask the questions. And this spiritual journey is not something is ending today or tomorrow for me. Every time, any number of times I read, I still want to read more and more about it. And Daaji, I must say that there are so many points and factors and truth you have brought it out in this last few minutes. It is a revelation. And I see this is nothing but the divineness of you, and your consciousness is Purnam, completely Purnam with your consciousness. So you could get all the experiences you have experiences of your consciousness is giving us the answers. And I am trying to get the one drop of that from you. And I'm also trying my best by myself too. I have been studying, doing a lot of self-search to myself. And trying to continue to do it for the rest of my life. I cannot say that I know all, I do not know all, but I'm trying further to keep my inside journey as open and as deeper I could. So the only question keeps popping up in my mind is during the meditation, yes, we do gain a sort of steadiness, a sort of waves coming down to a level of low highs and lows. And then I'll try my best to apply during my day-to-day activity where things go up and down, and how I maintain that sthita prajna state, that steady state while I'm performing my duties and keeping my awareness not touched. So I know it is difficult for human beings like me, and I like to hear from you. So it gets reinforced of what the wisdom you have and what I've been studying. So it's with my great pleasure that I'm asking this question, who knows everything. And I know you can answer this question to multiple people, anybody, anytime, night and day. So I know you have an answer, and please illuminate my brain.
Saraswati Garu, your humility, your clarity, and your curiosity. It's exactly like your dear father. I wish I had met this man who was simple, pure, and gentle. When we observe such people, then we witness Sthita Prajna in action. Such individuals, they inspire us. Gita, the essence of Gita is also invoking us something like, try and be Sthita Prajna. Even Kabir Sahib, he talks about the final state. When he says the final state is like a raindrops falling in the ocean and becoming the ocean. Mahavira, Jain Mahavira, he talks of Kaivalya. Lord Buddha talks of Nirvana. Patanjali talks of Samadhi. But all of them, including Lord Krishna, they leave us with this fundamental thing, how to arrive at Sthita Prajna and maintain that. And that is your fundamental question, that how to remain. Gita talks about lotus-like conditions, that I can be in this world like a lotus pond, unaffected by its dirty surrounding. But how to? Okay. Again, my Guruji Maharaj, he prepares us, he trains our consciousness. You see, how? You take an example of very calm pond, where a small leaf falls and it creates ripples. Calmer the pond, more the ripples. So often what happens, people who meditate, they get initially agitated like that, the calm pond. And if you're people like me, like in the beginning, And I used to meditate and feel calm. And my wife would early in the morning would say, why don't you get up and finish your breakfast? I said, my God, it is like a rock falling on the calm pond. It creates tsunami in your mind at that time, see. But you encounter many tsunamis little by little, and then say, okay, they can throw rocks, they can throw mountains, even the moon can fall in the ocean, but I will remain calm. It is through practice and practice alone that I become invincible. Main thing is this, that when my consciousness evolves, my understanding also evolves. So when somebody is quibbling with me, somebody is getting irritated, and when I am able to listen to that person with a quiet mind and a right understanding, then I will not create those waves that you are talking about, high and low waves. I will remain like this. So it is my understanding. The second thing is, a spiritual person also understands one fundamental thing, that whatsoever I react with, it's going to create impressions in me. Suppose my family member did not reciprocate favorably and behaved badly with me. Should I forgive that person? Now it depends. If that act keeps repeating, I don't have to offer the other cheek, as Lord Jesus says, that when somebody hits you on one side, you offer the other cheek. No, I'm not going to say that. You can take a baseball bat and hit the other person. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness is from the heart, but don't let the other person abuse you. Right? So these waves will be created, but temporarily. When you take a base and try to react, baseball bat and try to react, it's only temporary. So I like to share a story from the life of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He was sharing it with one of his disciples who was arguing with him on ahimsa. So Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he created a story, or perhaps he must have known from his childhood. And he says, look, there was one rishi. He had few disciples. He was walking one day and found in one village his disciple. And this disciple now was reborn there in that village as a cobra. And that children were throwing stones at this cobra, and his hood was bleeding all over. So when this guru who was passing by recognizes, oh, my disciple is so much hurt. So he's questioning his disciple. Why do you let these children do this to you? Can't you do something? He said, Guruji, you taught me ahimsa. So how can I? So Guruji said, I told you, of course I taught you ahimsa, but I did not stop you from hissing. You could have made the sound so that you are no longer hurt. While making sound, you might have those waves, which will be smaller than the bleeding hood. So it is comparative. You see, a lot of people, they come to me and say, oh, I don't believe in allopathic medicines because they all have side effects. I say, even mother's milk has side effects. Sometimes milk gives you diarrhea. It depends, you don't follow the protocol, that's what is going to happen to you. And you have to see the benefits versus the side effects. If it overweighs, then you better take the medicine, see. You have to look the other side and say, okay, if I get diarrhea, but my something is getting cured, I can live with diarrhea. I can live with acidity. I can drink some antacids. But don't make a fuss about that. Oh, this is a side effect. And that there is every individual also is creating side effects on another individual. Are you divorcing them? No, we don't. We mutate. Bacteria knows how to mutate. Even this COVID knows how to mutate against humanity. See, we all are trying to kill COVID. You can't finish it. They will mutate. If they can mutate, with just through 2-3 DNA strands, why can't we change? We can also change. Of course, some actions requires or creates bigger waves, not only in us individually, but in others also, because our action is going to make noise. When you are trying to make a broad change in something or in your administration or in your way of life, that can create waves. It's okay. But your ultimate purpose is what? Harmony. So many a times you have to fight many wars to create harmony. And Mahabharata is one example. Okay. So Saraswati Garu, got honored to meet you. And I hope whenever you come to Hyderabad, please do visit Kanha and remind me before you come. Thank you. Thank you. So, Umangaru, we meditate now.
Yes, Master.
We spend already so much of time talking. It's best to meditate. So those of you who are new to meditation, you just have to simply close your eyes and think of the presence of divine light, which is already present in our heart, and be receptive to this pranahuti, that I am receiving this pranahuti, which is helping me relax and experience the presence of divine light. That's all we have to do from our side. The rest will be done by Guruji. Once the meditation is over, Umagaru will say, that's all. That's when you open your eyes. I will disconnect from here and still continue joining you all in meditation. So let's all begin meditation. And Umagaru, after when it's over, please say that's all.
Yes, Master.
Let's all start meditation.
That's all. Thank you all for joining us today. We are grateful to everybody that has participated today. And we are definitely grateful to Revered Daaji because he left us with the hope that he's coming back, because he gave the topics that he would like to share with all of us. So Hari Prasad Garu, thank you and grateful to the opportunity, and to all the panelists. We are very grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you, Madhur. See you next week.
Yeah, thank you.